Swing is a rhythmic concept that used mostly in jazz and blues music. It's usually opposite to a straight rhythm, and if you want to know the difference, I'm here to explain. Hey, I'm Tatiana. I'm a bass player, a composer, and a music teacher. I graduated from different institutions, including Moscow College of Improvisational Music, where they taught us how to play jazz, and I still love that style of music. I believe that people who can play jazz can play anything, or almost anything. Knowing what swing is good actually not only for playing jazz music, but also for understanding what the other musicians around you talk about. It's an essential and a basic part of musical literacy, especially for a bass player. I'm going to show you some examples of swing rhythm and compare them with the examples of the straight rhythm, so that you will feel the difference. You are probably familiar with quavers. We have 2 of them for each crotchet, which are usually beats. So with a little help of my metronome, it sounds like this. Ta 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 ta. The quavers can be written like this, in pairs, or they can look separate like this. With the swing rhythm, the same written quavers sound differently. Compare them now. 2, 3, 4. To understand the sense of this and start practicing, you can imagine that we have not 2 but 3 quavers for each beat. They are triplets: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. However, the first 2 of them are slurred. It means that you don't play the second note, it just lasts. And it can be written like this, with a crotchet and a quaver united with this thing with 3, so that this is actually 1 beat. With my metronome it sounds like this. Or tired version. This and this is the same. However, this is not everything about them. You have to accent the shortest quaver, and it sounds like this. You can compare them. Here I will play without the accent on the second quaver. And now I'm going to accent every second quaver. Check yourself, can you hear the difference? There is nothing wrong with the itsy bitsy spider, but in the original version of this song, it's not swing. The 2 swing notes in pairs can be mathematically correct, but they don't have to. In real life, the actual duration of the notes in swing can vary. It's never mathematical and precise. In fast tempos like bebop, it's almost impossible to keep them in the triplet-like structures like this, and they are usually tending to look like normal quavers without this triplet thing. But when possible, people try to accent the second note. So normally it's ta ta da ta da ta da, but in bebop it can be ta ta da 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 ta da. They're almost even. In the slow tempos like ballads, it's vice versa. It tends to be like this, with a dotted quaver and a semiquaver. And in slow tempos it would be ta ta da ta da ta da. So this note is significantly longer. Nevertheless, in all tempos, the first note in these pairs starts with a beat, and if you want to play in the pocket with the drummer, you have to be precise with the first note. One day, I played a gig with a very good classically trained musician who knew everything about classical music, but who didn't know how to play swing, and we had to play swing. So I will show you what it sounded like. This is the example of the piece Blue Monk by Thelonious Monk. It shall sound like this. and it sounded like this. So that was an interesting experience. Although the swing quavers don't have to be super precisely mathematically correct triplet structures, they often combine with triplets very well, especially in the slow and moderate tempos. This is the example of the bass line. This is the example of a solo line from one of the ballads. You can use swing both in your solos and in your bass lines. The bass lines in jazz is mostly the walking bass lines. I think I'll make another video about walking bass, but this is just a bit of this. Usually they consist of crotchets, like one crotchet per one beat, and you don't play swing actually when you just play the precise crotchets. It's just a very common rhythm for any styles of music. But it becomes swing when you include some quavers there, when you split one of the crotchets, 1, 2, 3, fourth one is split here, and here it's the second one. So when you have quavers, you play them like swing, like ta 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 ta. So this one would sound like ta 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 ta, and this one is ta 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 ta. I will show you. People often correlate walking bass and swing, and sometimes when they say you need to play swing, they mean that you need to play the walking bass line. But actually, this is not correct. Because you can play swing just staying on one note, and this is not a walking bass. But when you play the walking bass line, and if you want to include some quavers, this will be swing. So the walking bass and the swing are not the same. I hope now you know what the swing is and you can feel the difference between the swing and the straight rhythm. You can create your own bass lines like walking bass and solos using this concept, but also you can just learn some examples of what already exists. I have the jazz package prepared that has 7 very popular jazz standards inside with the notation and tabs for the leads, examples of improvisations and bass lines, all for the bass guitar. The package also has the MP3s for these pieces so that you can practice with them even being offline and you don't need any streaming platforms for this. The link is down below this video. Happy practicing!